This is my Aunt Constanza, and she's 85 years old. She has been in hospice for about a year. We get a nurse twice a week and someone that comes and bathes her now 3 times a week. She's been in this condition now since February, and she's been eating less and less, and to the point now that she's only taking fluids. So now, actually what is sustaining her is coconut water. And at the beginning, she was eating the pulp a little bit, and then she didn't want that, and I was blending it, kind of making a smoothie, and she would take a few spoons of that. But now she's just to the point where she wants the clear water, and that's all. So she's having that, and since she caught a cold, another one with me a week ago, so I added honey and propolis, so I dilute that, and so she's taking that with the coconut. When you go to the supermarket, you will see 3 kinds of coconut. This is the mature one, and there is one that kind of looks like this, you know, with a lid. And then there is another kind that is fresh and is wrapped in a plastic wrap. I use a young fresh coconut, I think, one because my aunt used to like the pulp inside is very thin and it is very creamy-like. So you just with a spoon scoop, and it will be this delicious pulp, cream-like pulp that she used to love to eat. So, and you get also the water, and so I would use everything. They do open very differently. So the old one is actually the easiest to open. As you see, it has a little face, and there has 3 little holes. Now when you get your knife, you will touch until you find the one that is soft. See, that one is hard, this is hard, and this is the soft one. So very easily you just poke in there and turn to make a hole. A little hole there where you can pour the liquid out, the water out. So once you have made a hole and you see there, and then it begins to come, and then I just put it there and leave it because it takes a little while. So now this is what I call actually a superfood, because it is what my aunt is living on. She is being sustained with the coconut water now. But before that, when she was able to eat more, then you could also use the pulp, which has more consistency, but still I have read that they can survive for a very long time on the coconut water by itself. They do need a little vitamin C, so she's having some honey with the propolis, or you could give them some emergency C or orange juice, you know, anything like that, and they will be fine. When my aunt stopped her medication, one thing is that I was not afraid that she wanted to do that. So I took it as a sign that she was ready to let that go, release it, and prepare for dying, and I wanted to support her. I wanted to support that process. So I think the fear of, you know, if I don't give her medication, then she will be uncomfortable or she will be in pain, disappeared, and I just felt that she was showing me she wanted to stop, and I supported her on that. And I think that the process of her eliminating food slowly is also another sign that I am supporting as well. I think she's cleansing her body by doing that. I think that she's preparing herself so that when the time comes, when she crosses the threshold, when she dies, her body is completely ready. You know, she has brought it to the point where she's not going to be in pain. She has detox, she has cleansed, she's ready to go. I think the process will be much easier, and I see her totally in peace. by allowing and nurturing and supporting her process. And usually that's about what you will get, even from this. But the water looks the same, it's exactly the same as from the mature coconut or the fresh one. The difference is now the pulp, that now with this one, you know, I'm able to scrape it, and now this is a hard pulp inside, and I have to use a hammer to crack this coconut.
Is this all Constanza is drinking every day? Just one?
Yes.
One glass?
Yes.
Is she drinking other water as well to supplement it?
Well, the water that she's drinking is what I make the honey with the propolis, and that's probably about a quarter cup that she drinks. So it is this and the 1/4 cup of honey and propolis.
So it's approximately 2 cups of liquid a day, and no solids anymore.
No solids, but it takes her the whole day and night though
to drink it.
To finish, to finish. This is the kind of glass that I have found works the best. As you see, this is a straight glass, and this one has a curve. So when you give it to her, it's much easier for her to take the fluid from here. I pour just a little bit at a time, because when you leave it for a few hours, it will ferment. So it begins to turn kind of whitish, and then you know that it is starting to ferment. So I just used a little bit at a time, and then the rest I put in the refrigerator. So I keep it in a glass container and in the fridge. The young coconut are the most expensive one, and they are $2. This is coconut water, which you can find in any store nowadays. Is quite popular, but it is pasteurized, so that, because I told you, if you leave it out, it ferments, so you have to bring it out a little at a time. So in order for it to last, they have to pasteurize it. So then you're losing a lot of enzymes and its value that it has in it by pasteurizing it. This is actually cheaper. You go to the store, and not only will you be getting the water, but you will be getting also the pulp, which you can eat it yourself, or you can make the milk. Much better than getting this. Yeah, it's cheaper and it's better. It's coming. There it is. So now, see, when it's old, it's then more difficult to take the pulp out. But when it's young, it's just a very thin layer all around there. It depends.
That looks a bit dangerous.
You could use different kinds of knife, but you know, it's just and see how it has the skin behind, so you have to kind of peel that as well.
Yes.
So here it is. We're going to try to make the coconut milk. I need to put a little bit more of water. So you see, there is much more work when you get the mature coconut, because you have to do that. But when you get the fresh, young coconut, you don't need to strain it, because it becomes a smoothie. It's really very delicious. Try it. You could taste the oil.
And what you do with the remains?
With this, when it is the old one, you can put it in your compost, or you could bake with it. You could, you know, if you make any cookies or muffins, you could put that into it.
So that is basically flaked coconut?
Yes.
Without the juice?
Without the juice, and fresh. It's not dry.
So really, she's living on $2 a day, which is probably cheaper than if you were to be feeding her Ensure or some kind of food supplement.
Yes, yes. And hospice does provide Ensure, but she does not like it. She doesn't like it at all. And I think it contains so much other stuff that are more toxic than healing. and I'd rather she lives on coconut. I have a friend that she says is your aunt on her island, her coconut island. Said yes, she is. ¿Ahí está bien, tía?
Está bien.
She is fine there.